I get brain freezes.
No problem. All right, perfect. And we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning into a very special edition of Off the Record on the People's Podcast this afternoon. We have a magnificent guest with us today, one who is going to give us some amazing information as well as inspiration, and that is none other than our brother, Mill the God. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing fine. How you doing, Hotep?
Yes,
And
sir.
also, I want to greet you with Salam Alaikum. I know you're a Muslim, so
Yes, sir.
I
Walaikum
need
salam,
respect.
sir. Thank you very much. Yes, sir. Okay, well, let's get started. We met at a powerful event dealing with ownership and unity and positivity and the coming together as a collective to do some great things. Financial literacy, so much was part of the event that I met you in Cleveland, Ohio. Um, but how did you get started with let's start with the Black Wall Street, the website. How did that come about?
Well, you want me to talk about just the website or the organization, period?
No, no, everything, everything.
Well, Black Wall Street Empire was formed by me and two other brothers. One by the name of Brother Poet, shout out to him, and who's the co-CEO, and then a brother named Amin Ra, who's deceased, peace be upon him.
Yes, sir.
And we basically started out as a study group. So we were studying commercial activity. We were studying discharge and debt. It was basically a financial literacy study group and also a historical study group. So
Mm,
we decided to come up with a name, and that name was where we came up. We threw around a lot of ideas, and the brother Amin Ra actually came up with the name Black Wall Street. So
okay.
he wanted to base it around to be based around fight independence, black economic independence. So that's what we was kind of studying a lot of. So that's where the name Black Wall Street came from. And then I put on the word empire because I study a lot of African history, and particularly I got the word empire from West African culture. I know in West Africa, they a lot of the countries at around like the 300, I mean, like 1300s, 1400s, 1500s, like around that time in West Africa, a lot of the cultures went under empire. So you had the Mali Empire, the Ghana Empire, the Songhai Empire. But one particular leader in West Africa that I studied that I kind of have an affinity for is Sunni Ali. He was the king of the
Mm,
Songhai Empire. So I
okay.
did a lot of studying him. So I put the word empire, and then I also studied about how empires was formed. It would be municipalities and tribes that would all come together, and then once they come together, that would form an empire. They would name it an empire. It would go from tribes to municipalities and empires. So like the concept about Black Wall Street Empire, a lot of the business ideas and everything that we have, the concept like is about Black people coming together, joining together, and to create something bigger financially and then of course community wise. So then I thought empire fit perfect, you know what I'm saying? Because it had like the West African concept, which is like an ancient, ancient African history. And then like it's like a new kind of like we bringing it into like a newer age. So it was like I just put the word empire on it. And also I studied Dr. Claude Anderson's Powernomics. I read that book, Powernomics, and I like his philosophy on how we should practice economics as a group and how we should move as a community as a group. So I thought all of that just fit in the word empire fitted. So it was like Black Wall Street Empire. That's how that came about.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, Mr.
And then,
God. Okay.
yeah. and,
Wonderful.
and then as far as the website, that was just a way to participate in commerce commercially. Of course, today, the way that we do commerce today, the biggest way or the most popular way is through a website, through internet access. So I put the website together, and then like all the business ideas just came after the website. So the website event at first it was supposed to be like a hub for like everything we was all doing because Brother Poet he practices like commercial discharge. Then you got Amin Ra at the time. He was doing landscaping. He had like a landscaping business and everything. And then I came with the clothing line. I put together a clothing line, and I also do credit repair and financial literacy. I sell trade lines. So it was like supposed to be a hub for everything. It didn't work out that way because what I learned when you do a website, a lot of web services they don't like to do business with certain type of business ventures. So like I had like the credit repair business. So like I had a website through Shopify and they had shut down my website because I was doing credit repair.
Mm,
I was taking payments. I had a payment account with PayPal. They shut down my account. So I learned a lot, you know what I'm saying, just doing the business, just doing business period online, that a lot of things you can't interact together. So the website now, Black Wall Street Empire, is basically just a website for the clothes and a lot of the branded products I created, like fragrances, soaps. I have a personal line. I got a lot of different brands. I'm a brand creator as well. So like all of the brands basically roll through Black Wall Street Empire. And then I have separate websites for the commercial aspect of everything. And then I got a website for the nonprofit as well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Wonderful. Thank you, everyone who's showing love all around the world. How can we support your clothing line?
Go to blackwallstreetempire.com. This is actually one of my pieces, Boss Life Clothing. Everything is based around it's the clothing line is the design model is based around like African culture mixed with like hip hop street culture. So I try to like I call the clothing line where hip hop and consciousness meets. So it's like conscious culture. So but they could always go to blackwallstreetempire.com and it's a link Boss Life, the link Boss Life on the website. It's like a link for 3 different brands that I have. So you got the Boss Life brand, you have the BW Skin Essentials, which stands for Black Wall Street Empire. The Skin Essentials is like a fragrance, a bunch of different fragrance brands that I have, and soaps, and I said, a lot of different natural soaps. And then it's a link for Sister 7 Bags, which is a purse line that I created. So like it's 3 different links. For the clothes, they would hit the Boss Life link if they wanted to purchase the clothes.
Okay, yes, sir. And now with these fragrances, is this for in person or you ship fragrances like around the world?
Yeah, I ship everywhere.
Okay.
They go online, in person, everything. Yeah.
Okay, and these
like blackwallstreetempire.com, that everything is right there.
Everything is right there. Yes, sir. I just want to make sure that everybody taps in blackwallstreetempire.com. All right. I wanted to ask you, what advice would you give to entrepreneurs?
Advice to entrepreneurs?
Yes,
Well, first thing is be financially stable or have a financial plan to be able to go into business. That's one of the reasons why I teach financial literacy. Me personally, I come from the credit aspect of it. So my advice to anybody that's wanting to be an entrepreneur, first have a plan for what you want to do as an entrepreneur. Have multiple streams of income. Those was the first thing. Have a plan to have multiple streams of income. Because from my experience, and just in business period, like different whatever your business ideal is, from time to time, like far as like as the year go, from time to time, you have different business ideas. That's slow. Sometimes they move fast. It's always going to be, anytime you're in business, well, most of the times you're always going to be a slow period when you first start. So I think like they tell you, like most businesses, it takes 3 years for them to make money. They actually teach that in books. It's like 3 to 5 years. So those are like all of the technical points of being in business. But just from like experience, I would always encourage someone to have multiple streams of income. But the main thing is you want, outside of just having a business plan for whatever your ideal is, because it could, multiple businesses that people could be into. My thing was, I would tell a person to have capital, have access to capital. And the best way that I know how to get access to capital based on my research would be from the credit aspect. So I would always encourage a person to have multiple lines of credit open, business credit, to be exact, because anytime you're dealing with businesses from a credit aspect, you always able to get more capital. And then of course you always want to keep your business capital and personal capital separate for legal reasons, for legality, and commercial reasons. But the main thing would be have capital. And we're in the best type of capital to go about creating is like lines of credit. The line of credit is basically like a bank account. It's used, you can use it like a credit card, but it can also be used like a bank account. So I would tell a person, have your business idea and your business model. I don't really want to get into that specifically because that could vary depending on what type of business you're in. That's all up, to the determination of the person and whatever they know about that business. But the one thing that in every business you definitely want to have is access to capital. And I would say lines of credit would be the best way to go about doing that.
Yes, sir. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Great advice. Miriam Muhammad says, peace, family, peace, me. Brother Nelson Ramos, walaikum salam. Thank you all very much for watching. Can't wait to upload this to YouTube. Okay. My next question for you, sir, is what has been the greatest joy of, the success of your business and the website?
The greatest joy, me personally, is like working with the youth. And I got my non-for-profit. The business, I run a business, of course, to gain income, to earn income, like most people do. But my overall plan for having a business is to really be an example of what I want to be in the community. I think that in our community, like when I look at my life and the path that I went down in life when I made negative decisions, and like the main reason that I do what I do is because of a lot of the decisions I made in life that went wrong, and now I'm trying to redeem myself. Mm-hmm. So when I look at that, right, and I think, okay, how could I go into my community and help young people not make mistakes that I made, and also, move forward productively, have a better vision productively to move forward productive and help our community compete economically and culturally, right? Because that's what culture and commerce is about. When I think about that, and I read Powernomics, so I say first thing I got to do is be an example of what I want, what I would like to teach people and show people to do, right? So that's the main reason why I'm an entrepreneur, not just about the money. Like, that's the number one reason, right? So the joy that I get outside of making money is being able to go in front of young people and say, yo, you could be financially successful in life, even though I'm not rich yet, which I'm going to be one day, but just to show them, like, from day-to-day activities, right? You could be financially successful in life without going down a path, like in our community, it's like a street culture kind of like rule. It's either street culture or it's entertainment. Like, that's the biggest influence on young people in our community, is the streets and entertainment. So my joy I get is having a business, being independent, being an entrepreneur, and being able to stand in front of young people and show them what I know. And at the same time say, yo, like, you could be successful without selling drugs, or you don't have to be a basketball player. You don't have, you don't have to be a rapper, and you can, obtain success in life and, sustain a household, financially sustain a household without going down that path. So to me, that's like what I get joy out of from entrepreneurship. And that's why I created a curriculum called Culture and Commerce as well, to, go into schools and actually teach that everything that I know commercially and culturally to young people, and be an example of what I think, could happen in our community if we have more examples going into, because in our community, young people don't really have those day-to-day examples of somebody that we could consider to be successful. They don't really have that in front of them. They don't really have it in their household. Working in the schools, I definitely see they don't have it in their household. And it's people in the community that could be an example, but most of them, they too busy in their own life. So I think it's very important to show that to young people. So that would be my greatest joy.
Excellent. Go ahead and teach. Yes, sir. Naima Mama says, peace, Naima. Thank you, everybody who's watching. Shout out to our YouTube family as well. Shout out to Sister Auntie, Brother Musa, holding down, Brother Kente, everybody who can say show love on all platforms. All right, I wanted to ask you said you made a couple mistakes, and you want to come back and, like, as a redemption. That's many of our trial and many of our, our story, our testimony. What are some of the mistakes that you made that you had to overcome that people can learn from? Like, primarily young people can learn from.
Well, when I was 16, the audience might not know, they can see me. Well, I got shot when I was 16 years old, and I'm in a wheelchair. So that's the biggest mistake that I made in my life. But what led to that mistake was, like, being in the streets, you know what I'm saying? Street culture. I sold drugs. I wasn't in a gang, but, I was in the community, like, living the street life with my friends, running around. So, and I wasn't a I don't I'm not a big proponent of the European educational system, but I would say, you know what I'm saying, not taking school seriously would be a mistake because you got to go through that process to get to a process where you could be an independent thinker and learn independently. You just because of the community and the way the government, the structure, the way that we live in, you got to go through that educational process. So those would be the two biggest mistakes I made in life, like running the streets and then not being serious about school, like in my teenage years. So if I could do two things in life and reshape my life, it would be those two things. And yeah, that would be it. So, but the reason why I'm so adamant about working with young people and doing the culture and commerce workshops and trying to like change that cycle in the community is because I could still remember, and it's still fresh in my mind, like why I made the mistakes. Like I fell into the same aspect that most people fall into for us, like trying to be cool, like having the bad role models. Like if I had people in my life when I was a teenager that I seen that was like not the average everyday going to work guy, or somebody in church saying, follow God and all that. Like young people don't really want to hear that. If I had somebody in my life that I seen as cool but successful, but they was doing something positive, like I would have focused on that. Like I would have followed that model. I would have concentrated on that. But I didn't have that in my community. Like everybody that was cool in my community or considered cool in my community was the drug dealer. You know what I'm saying? The same thing that we all fall into, or the athlete. And like what happened a lot of times when you a teenager, when you young, like most young Black people, especially Black boys, they want to be like, and they have a dream of being in like athletics. Where nowadays probably like rapper would probably replace that. But those are the two main things. Reality start to set in when you get like 13, 14, when you don't have, like we know like less than 1% going to make it in athletics. Even the good ones don't make it. So when you start getting like 12, 13, 14, reality start to set in. The one thing about me, I always had ambition. Like I was a very ambitious young person, but that ambition got directed in the wrong direction. Like I seen my success coming from drugs. And the reason I seen my success coming from drugs is because I had family members that were successful drug dealers. And I had people in the community that I looked at like, oh, he got cars, he got jewelry, he got the same stuff that we all go through when you in an urban community. So that go back to what I was saying about trying to being an entrepreneur and being an example of success to young people, because I didn't see a positive example of success. I didn't see like how I could achieve constructive results in the community doing it positive or doing it legally. So that's why I went down that path. So I want to reverse that, but back to what you were saying, those are the mistakes I made, and now I'm trying to provide an example and an outlet for people to not make them mistakes. You understand what I'm saying? But yeah, those would be the mistakes I made.
Yes, sir. And how do the young people, when you go to these schools and you're doing your workshops, are they receptive?
Surprisingly, like teenage kids are very receptive. Younger kids, like, because I've spoken in front of kids from first grade to high school. The younger, it's like, of course, the attention span is lower. So it's like, it's harder to get younger people attention. Teenagers are more receptive. But the one thing I say, I'm still in the learning phase on how to best communicate with young people. But what I will say is when they know you care about them, they listen better. You know what I'm saying? The key to dealing with young people from my experience is showing them that you care. Like when they know you care, like you could just talk regular to them. I think like a lot of times when people talk to young people, I think and I also experienced this whenever I dealt with older people who would come speak to me or just in life, period. I think the wrong thing, the worst thing you could do is try to talk at kids, talk at young people. And just even that's another experience from my life. Like I had a couple of older people in my life that tried to be, that tried to help me get on the right path. But from my experience, people will always talk at me. And like young people don't really, that's when they buck, when you talk at them. When you talk with them, they are a lot more receptive to that. So from my experience, I've learned that when you just talk to them have regular conversations with them, even when you ask them things about their own life, they'll tell you a lot. They tell you a whole bunch of things that you wouldn't think that they'll tell you when they just know that you talking with them. So the reception from like older kids is good. Like I say, younger kids, it's not, I don't get bad energy from them, but their attention span is a lot shorter. And they like to play a lot more, you know what I'm saying? But it's still a learning experience. I'm gonna learn how to communicate with them too, because it's important. I think it's the most important to get them when they're younger. The younger you get them, the better. We had froze up for a second, but we back.
Okay, yes, sir. We good? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Yes, sir. And thank you for your transparency and honesty. People are showing you love all around the world. My mom says, teach. Thank you all very much. We have a quick 60-second commercial break for all of the sponsors of the People's Podcast, and we're coming right back to our brother. 1 second. And once again, Middle Guy, can we get the website?
BlackWallStreetEmpire.com. BlackWallStreetEmpire.com. You got a sponsorship package or something? I'll be interested in being a sponsor.
Oh, yes, sir. I definitely will send it to you right away.
All right.
And thank you, everyone who's showing love. Oh, there we go. There we go.
You streaming live on YouTube or somewhere else? Facebook. Okay.
1 second. And thank you, everyone who Black Wall Street Empire. Here we go. And we're gonna upload this to YouTube live right after the interview. And you're out of Cleveland, correct?
Yeah, Cleveland, Ohio.
There we go.
Any of those services.
Perfect.
Sister Miriam's.
And thank you all for your comments and your questions.
Children's book and coloring book. And now Spanish book.
So, all right.
Do anybody have any questions?
Right now, people just bearing witness to you and clapping and
all right.
That kind of. If you all have any questions, please let us know. And 1 second, here's the commercial break. All of the sponsors, thank you for every Cash App, every donation, and every like, share, and subscription.
Any of those services. Sister Miriam's, ABC I Love Me, children's book and coloring book, and now all 3 available on Amazon.com. Sister Naima's Stay on Point Dance Academy, LLC. She teaches ballet virtually to young girls all across the country, right here in the studios of Atlanta Dress in the Best of Fashion. Brother Kenneth's Bow Tie Maker Extraordinaire. He'll ship you bow ties anywhere across the nation. Henry Carter's King Henry Turkey Legs, right here in Atlanta, Georgia. Brother Rashad Muhammad's COVID-19 Disinfected Cleaning Services, out of Chicago. Student Minister Sharif Muhammad's book, A Soldier in the Movement of Christ, available on AdulSharif.com. And lastly, Brother Joshua Muhammad's book, Cleopatra, as well as No Father, No Excuse, both available on Amazon.
Thank you all very much. One more sponsor, shout out to Sister Sherry with Asiatic Minds. For anyone who wants to enroll your child or children into virtual school, please minds.com. 1 second, we want to make sure that we enroll them at asiaticminds.com. They have a great faculty and staff. Thank you, asiaticminds.com. And everybody is showing you love. Thank you, Sister Sherry. All right, right back to you, sir. My next question for you is what type of music do you enjoy to listen to?
Hip hop, R&B.
Okay.
To be honest, I enjoy a lot of different. I like jazz and stuff, but like most of the stuff I listen to, hip hop and R&B. That's what I grew up on. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Can you give us any examples?
I'm a '90s baby. So
okay.
I'm an '80s baby, but I'm a '90s teenager. So I grew up in the '90s. So like on the R&B side, I listen to a lot of '90s R&B. Now on the rap side, on hip hop, I listen to like the 90s stuff that I grew up on, but if it's like the current people who I listen to currently today, it would be Benny the Butcher, Conway the Machine. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
I'm familiar.
Yeah, Buffalo guys, and then I'm like a big Rick Ross and Meek Mill fan.
Okay.
And then my
MMG.
favorite rapper of all, my favorite rapper is Tupac of all time. So I always stay up on some Tupac, but like pretty much anybody from the 90s that was like hot in the 90s, I'm pretty much, all over that. But then right now I'm like Benny the Butcher and Conway the Machine, like I'm on them.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Shout out to, you can't go wrong with them, and shout out to Tupac, of course. All right, sir. What would you like your legacy to be?
I would like whenever, whenever I don't even want to speak about leaving here, but if I had to say, 50 or 100 years from now, I want to be somebody who culturally and financially educated our people and helped us move forward. The way I think of us as a people, like Black people, I look at us from a community perspective. After reading Powernomics, I don't really look at things individually. So I understand, or I understand how far behind we are as a community, and from a perspective of creating with other ethnic races, competing with other ethnic races. So I would like to be somebody who helped our community move forward constructively to compete economically and become independent again, as we were in like a lot of those great African empires. Something that even your teacher talk about, Farrakhan, all the time. So I would like to be somebody that helped build the foundation for us to get there. I know it's going to take hundreds of years for us to get there. I know that, but I would like to just be somebody that helped push that forward. Like when I look at like the people that I look up to is like people like Elijah Muhammad, Malcolm X, Khalid Muhammad. This is just, I'm speaking on that's not here anymore. Some of the people that's not here anymore. Amos Wilson. These are like some of the people that I really revered. Marcus Garvey, Noble Drew Ali. So I feel like each one of them left a foundation for us to build on as a community. That when I'm speaking of as a community, I'm speaking on us melanated people.
Yes, sir.
So I think they all left a foundation for us to build on. So I just want to be somebody, even though I'm not saying I'm them, but I just want to be somebody that helped build that foundation. Because I know one day we're going to get back to where we need to be as a people. So I want to be somebody that helped build that foundation.
Yes, sir. You can't go wrong with that. And so many people are showing you love. We're about to upload this on YouTube. One more time, Mill the God, what the website?
BlackWallStreetEmpire.com. For your audience, if anybody make a purchase on the website, the first purchase is 20% off everything at checkout. And got clothes. I have fragrances. I got my own fragrance line. For the ladies, I got a fragrance called Sister 7. Everything on there is consciously named as well, because it's products for our people. All natural fragrance spray, Sister 7, lasts long, smell better than anything you're gonna get in Macy's. I promise the ladies. It's a hit in the city of Cleveland. And I'm just trying to, make it global. But the fragrances, the clothes is fire. Again, this is one of the pieces right here, culture and commerce.
Yes, sir. Positive note. I want to thank everyone for watching, and I want to thank you, sir, again for taking time out of your busy schedule to come on the People's Podcast. It was my honor to meet you in person. It was my honor to have you on the podcast as well. Everybody, let's make sure we support our brother and continue to show love and positivity. This is Joshua Leonard Muhammad signing off for the People's Podcast. Hotep, my brother. All right. Okay. Thank you for watching.